30% of the population here in New Jersey are immigrants, and 21% are Hispanic, just to give you an idea, right? Those 30% immigrants account for almost 50% of the main street businesses, restaurants, beauty salons, barber shops, retail stores, right? Those are the businesses that we are working on helping to grow. Not everybody wants to grow, and you also know that 92% of the businesses in the US are considered micro businesses. They have less than 5 employees, including the business owner. If one of every 3 hire one more person, the US will face full employment. That's the power of micro business.
Hey, this is Aaron Price, the CEO of TechUnited, and I'm very excited for our discussion today with Valley Bank. You know, often people aren't clear of the role that a bank plays in the innovation community, in various communities that it serves, and Valley has been an excellent partner to TechUnited for many, many years. And so I'm here today with the Director of Community Lending, Luis De La Hoz, to talk to us about Valley Bank. Luis, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. For me, it's a really good opportunity to talk to you. We have been discussing many subjects over the years, and this is something that is very indeed to my core.
I know that, which is why when I heard you took this role, I was not surprised, and more so was very pleased, because I think they have the right person in the role, leveraging an institution that seems to really want to make an impact. And with that in mind, I've had a chance to get to know Valley, and so I appreciate, I think, how innovation plays a role in its dedication to diversity. But for those who are less familiar with Valley Bank, can you share a little bit more about, the elevator pitch of what is Valley Bank?
Valley is a unique place to bank. We are a community bank that was founded in New Jersey, but we have the right size to make an impact on the communities that we serve. We are not a small community bank, and we are not a large financial institution. We keep focus on relationships. And I think that that's what makes the difference for the impact that we can make on the communities that we serve.
How do you see innovation and technology playing a role in reaching those communities?
I believe that innovation and technology are the two answers in order for financial institutions to scale, in order for them to provide services to people that are underbanked, that they are not using financial institutions on a daily basis. And if that happens, that will help to reduce the digital gap and the wealth gap in our country.
Let's talk about that digital gap. How do banks play a role in helping to fill that gap? And how do we get communities who are underbanked, who are less comfortable with banking, in some cases major trust issues? How do banks play a role? How can technology make them more comfortable, provide better access?
I mean, what Valley did is a big effort that is not only community lending, that is a dedicated team just for the minority small business owners, but also is the opportunity to use the retail facilities that we have as a point of contact for those individuals that doesn't necessarily know how to use the technology, as a point of entrance to that work. I mean, we have been training customers on our branches, and we have been able to, for example, using the branch as a office space in order for them to scan the lease, and that way they will be able to apply for a grant assistance program or for different alternatives. This is not just about a transaction. This is about building long-term relationships, and the focus is how we can grow together. That's the main focus of Valley. And I also want to say that it's not one effort. Is Valley hired the first chief diversity officer, now community lending. We are also a procurement officer. I mean, Valley have been working very diligent in trying to deal with the minorities and all the communities that we serve on the 4 states that we have physical presence.
We're broadly using this word diverse communities, but I'm wondering if you could share a little bit more specifically when the kinds of people, the kinds of businesses that we're talking about trying to bank, where where there are some of these gaps, because my hunch is my personal banking experience is quite different than that of some of the people that you're trying to bring into your community banking. And I want to be clear about both, just who it is we're trying to serve here.
Yeah, for example, you know that New Jersey, 30% of the population here in New Jersey are immigrants and 21% are Hispanic, just to give you an idea, right? Those 30% immigrants account for almost 50% of the main street businesses, restaurants, beauty salons, barber shops, retail stores, right? Those are the businesses that we are working on helping to grow. Not everybody wants to grow, and you also know that 92% of the businesses in the US are considered micro businesses. They have less than 5 employees, including the business owner. If 1 of every 3 hire 1 more person, the US will face full employment. That's the power of micro businesses.
Meanwhile, many of those businesses faced some of the most dramatic impact from the pandemic. And so how did Valley play a role in trying to help keep some of them afloat?
We identified that, veteran business owners, African-American business owners, LGTB plus community, woman in business, Hispanic, Asian, all the groups that self-identify as minorities, they have their own challenges. And what Valley did is, okay, let's offer the same white glove type of services that Valley offered to the regular customer, to the minorities. And basically, we provide a dedicated team, bilingual team, that will assist all those customers through the process. And we will fulfill the gap between what the customer is capable of doing and what we need to do in order for us to provide the service, for example, during PPP. And also, we extend our services to provide them assistance to any other program that was available from the federal government, from the state government, from the local government, in order for them to access to grants, 0% loans, those type of services, in order for them to keep their doors open. The idea is we develop the relationship. Not everything that we want to offer come directly from Valley, but we partner with non-for-profit and government agencies to allow the information to flow to the communities that we serve.
Is that the primary issue? Because I can only bring my own personal experience here, and I'm guessing that the experience that I have with the bank is quite different than the communities that you're talking about here. What is missing for the underserved? You talk about bringing the same white glove service. Why does that require effort? It is not just the default. Why are minorities, underserved communities not getting the same type of service?
Because many of them, they use the cell phone to access the internet. They don't use a laptop, right? And it's very interesting because what we discovered is they use the cell phone to access like social media platform for personal reasons, but not for commercial reasons, right? And if you try to process the PPP application over your cell phone, you will encounter many problems, because if you try to upload a document on your cell phone, probably you don't have enough memory, or if you close the window until you find the document, now you need to retype all the information. That's the type of problem that we have. Now, we focus on 4 problems. Access to capital is the most important problem that they face, and that's due to the lack of personal credit history and the lack of collateral. Access to new markets, how they can offer the product or services to the general market, and how we can assist current customers that are located in highly populated communities to provide services to those communities. Access to capital, access to new markets, access to networks, because not everybody has the opportunity to have the connections that you need to grow or to keep your business open, right? And since the pandemic, the digital gap. The problem was that they was not able to have access to the internet the same way as you or as many other customers, that we can just send an email blast and you will receive the email and you will be able to figure it out the instructions on the email. You will read the email, and if you have a specific question, you can send an email or a text and reach out back to us. Many cases, what we did is we did Zoom meetings, and we provide them all the details of the application. And the day of the application, we assist them just with a few questions, like, for example, the NACES code. Sometimes they was confused, gross sales versus net sales versus profit, those type of details. But if we just allow them to figure it out on their own, they won't be able to qualify for the need. And I mean, the pandemic was a crisis. We didn't have time to train them how to deal with the technology in order for them to keep the doors open.
So are you saying that it's sometimes as simple, for business owners who might be listening, sometimes it's as simple as the user experience for the consumer and thinking about making sure you have a mobile ready version for certain consumers or for certain customers to be able to actually, in this case, apply for PPP? I mean, is it as simple as in some cases, we're talking about internet access and being mobile friendly? Or sometimes these are things that you think people are taking for granted?
I mean, it's very interesting. I met many business owners. For example, we are over 120,000 Latino small business owners on the state of New Jersey that we contribute over $20 billion to the economy. Many of them, they have better cell phones than the one that I have, right? But they are not able to use that as a tool to run their business. They can use that for personal reasons, to post on Facebook, on Instagram, on, in many other platforms, but not necessary to do something meaningful for the business. What we understood is like how we can assist them until they are capable of using that for the same purpose of the rest of the customers. Our idea is we was able to provide bilingual assistance to many of those customers. And as I say, it just guide them, hand-holding them through the process in order for them to be able to access those resources on a meaningful time.
So, you and I have been talking about the need to invest in underserved and diverse communities for many, many years. And it seems like there's even been an evolution in the last year or two in this regard. And I'm wondering, from your perspective, maybe to put you on the spot here, what do you think is something that the country is doing right? And what do you think is something that we can use? We still need, we have still a long way to go.
I mean, I believe that everything is related with leadership. You really want to work with a leader that inspires you, that and that's what we see at the leadership at Valley. They are committed. This is not just a decision that was made on a committee. No, they have investing a lot of people. Now we are like 10 people on the community lending. This is not something that will vanish tomorrow, right? This is a long-term commitment to serve the communities where we do business, right? I think that the leadership is one requirement that is necessary. The long-term commitment, because we don't necessarily will be able to provide the same numbers that business banking or those businesses that are already developed, right? But the focus on businesses that are self-identified as minorities in the long term, especially those that have a high growth potential, I believe that is a value proposition that is really important, not only for us, for the communities that we serve, and for the states where we have presence.
So for other, I'm thinking about the business owner community and other entrepreneurs who are listening to this. And if they're thinking about, maybe they want to be thoughtful, maybe they think it's good for business, hopefully both of these things, what would you encourage them to do as they build out their products and services to make sure that it speaks to underserved communities?
I mean, I think that everybody needs to check the demographics. I mean, if you are in Jersey City, is the most diverse city in the United States, you need to consider more than just one specific group, right? And the other thing is, for example, during the pandemic, the state of New Jersey faced a lot of problems or challenges because we speak multiple languages, right? And you need to provide the information available on those languages, and the customer support on those languages. And that way, more people will be able to access the products and services that you offer. And I think that the census information that will be released in 2 months is really important, because that will give you an idea about how you need to act or how you need to plan in respect of the markets that you serve.
What about in addressing the technology gap? I mean, there's almost like it almost doesn't seem logical. How does a bank help solve the technology gap in underserved communities? But obviously, Valley can play a role here. It seems a bit non-obvious. I think there's other businesses that probably like, well, what's our role in this? How do we even potentially address this issue? It's nothing. They may think it has nothing to do with us. I'm curious what you would say to that.
No, I think it's commitment. I mean, if we see the need and we identify when we interact with the customers and we realize that if we don't do our part, they won't be able to ever reduce that gap, we just need to adjust to the new reality. But in order for us to be able to connect with as many customers as we want on those communities, the answer is technology. The only way that we as a financial institution can scale to serve the minorities and the communities that we have presence is using technology. And now the technology that we develop is, Bali has been well known for using technologies that are available, fintech companies that they already develop products or services, and connect that with what we have in order for us to provide a really good customer service experience to the customers that we serve.
And speaking about Valley more internally, can you share a little bit more? You talked about the chief diversity officer, some of the committees that have grown. I think you said the 10 people. What has the organization done to make this an authentic part of its culture of the organization?
I mean, right now we have a few ERG groups. We have HOLA, which is the Hispanic one. We have Pride, which is the African American one. We have Inspire is the African American, Pride is the LGTB. We have the Asian one. I mean, those are the efforts to be natural. I mean, we need to adjust to the new reality, and we want to be inclusive, because we also know that if we attract good talent, that talent will come from diverse communities, and that's when we want to provide good results for the communities that we serve, and financial results for the investors that we have.
Are there certain banks that you think lean in, or certain organizations that do a better job in leaning into this than others? And does it start with, you alluded to this a few times, does this start from the top, where it has to be a CEO that says, we're going to invest in this, we're going to build our culture around this? Can it be a grassroots campaign? I'm curious, where does the change begin?
No, I think that need to start at the top, but you need the commitment from everybody at the team, because this is something that if one person is in charge of innovation and nobody provide them the needs or the feedback from the customers, we never will improve in that area, right? Bali has the Innovation Week, and I remember that you interviewed Bob last year for that specific. This is an effort that every year, as employees, we have the opportunity to participate, and we can submit a problem and a solution, and if they select us, we can implement. And we win, we will be able to implement that solution. I think that cultivating innovation on a large group of people, over 3,000 people or employees that we are, is very important, because we are able to discover things in many different areas. It's not just one specific area, but innovation needs to become part of our daily basis. It's a mindset where everybody's thinking how we can improve, how we can reduce costs, or how we can provide better or new services to the customers that we serve. And I think that that's what we see, the energy level at Bali, and the level of collaboration between all the members, especially during PPP, that we work endless hours, weekends. You realize that everybody is aligned with that vision of the leadership, but also everybody's committed to make that a reality.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the focus around entrepreneurship and innovation. And I mentioned this at the start of the show that, the partnership between Valley and TechUnited is significant. And I really appreciate how much, Valley clearly believes, the things that Valley tends to support with us are around diversity and around innovation. And which is a partnership I'm very proud of. What are some of the areas of dedication around innovation? And if there are startups that are working on things in fintech and they think Valley could be an interesting partner, is there a path for them to get involved?
Yes, I believe that everybody that is working on a startup right now, they can start developing the relationship with Valley, because not everything happened overnight. And I think that the relationship between TechUnited and Valley was developed over the years, right? And that proof that you need to, it's a process: visibility, credibility, and profitability. If you provide a solution and we understand that that's a need that can be solved through that solution, that's the best way that we can attract or a partner with a new tech company and implement a solution in a way that many other financial institutions won't be able to do it. And I want to be clear that I think that the size is the right size, because you have the authentic commitment from the leadership, but also the people that are involved will provide you feedback that is important in order for you to implement those solutions that you are planning on provide.
And then lastly, in New Jersey in particular, right? Our goal is to, we are TechUnited. We want to unite the tech community because we believe that's where the magic happens in bringing people together. What are you optimistic for? Where do you think the opportunity is for us here? Often New Jersey is an overlooked market. And honestly, we're tremendously energized by what we're seeing and hope to change the narrative around being overlooked in some of this way. I wonder, from your point of view, what do you think is some of the New Jersey opportunity that's in front of us at the moment?
I want to tell you, if I was thinking the other day, what happened if the pandemic happened and I was in another place? This was the best place to be on it. We have access to the vaccines, we have access to the information. I think that everything was managed under like a good criteria. New Jersey we need to be more vocal about promoting New Jersey, because we enjoy a lot of things about New Jersey, but we are not necessarily as vocal as we can in order to tell the world that we are here. New Jersey, the best place if you want to consider the Northeast market, because our geographic ubication is the best. We are 40 minutes away from Manhattan, which is the largest retail market in the world. We are 40 minutes away from Philadelphia, who is the fastest growing market in the Northeast. We can serve 40% of the US market in 24 hours from New Jersey. I think that is just that we believe that we are in the right position and that we can attract other industries and other individuals that are willing to believe that we are the best opportunity around.
We take a lot of flack and we don't have a lot of pride, I guess, but I think we got to get guys like you more front and center talking about some of these issues. Although I'm not sure where you can be. That's 40 minutes from New York and Pennsylvania and Philly, but we'll let you slide on that one.
Yes, by train.
Maybe by train. That's a good, fair point.
But we have an airport that we have direct flights to 80 different countries around the world every single day. We have a lot of really good things. The number of engineers that we have here, the industry that we have here, I think that is just that we didn't have time to realize how good New Jersey is and everything that has to offer, and the collaborations. I believe that if more people join the efforts, we will be able to provide better results. But
I think you're exactly right about that. I think that's the most important criteria, because I agree there's many strengths in some of these industries, in the geography and some of our logistics, but I think getting more people, it's a team sport, and more people involved in the conversation and looking to make a difference and invest in things like diversity and technology and how do we make more happen here, which is happening, which, as I mentioned, I'm very energized by what I'm seeing in the market. I really appreciate the partnership with Valley and with you, and we're looking forward to doing quite a bit more. If we're in person, Luis, usually we stand up. I think you've been at some of these events. We stand up, we do a high five your neighbor. We can't do it on the virtual events, but we'll do the high five the camera. So on the count of three, high five your camera, 1, 2, 3, boom. Great to see you. I really appreciate you joining us, and we'll check in with you again soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.